All right, folks. This is a 2017 Honda Accord LX with a 4-cylinder. We are going to do rear brake pads and rotors today, okay? Because they are shot. So, besides pulling the wheel off, the first thing you got to do is the 2 bolts in the back are 12 millimeters. Right, there's 2 bolts here, 12 millimeters. One on the bottom, one on the top. Take that off. Now, if you took that off and you notice that the caliper does not come out too far, it's because the emergency brake cable is holding it in. That's this long cable right here. Okay? The brake hose is here. It's going to give you enough room and enough slack. But the problem is that you can't pull the caliper out that way because of this cable here. So there's on the bottom here to this knuckle over here, there's another 12 millimeter bolt. Undo that 12 millimeter bolt and there's a bracket. The bracket will come out of that little hole and it'll spin free for you. I put the bolt back on in there. That way I won't kick it around when I leave it on the floor. Right? Now you have all this room that'll move. Once you do that, just want to grab this. Get my glove over here. You grab it and just pull it right out. Okay, there it goes. So it's a couple of things that are going to come out with it. Just want to show you. If you notice this little piston back there, it's across. It is exactly straight across. So if you hold it this way, it's a 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So when we push this piston in later on, make sure that that cross is exactly the same way, 9 and 3. All right, it can hang out over here. There's no stress on this hose, all right, because it's just laying there on the rod. Now over here, there's 2 little clips over here. So one on the top, one on the bottom. They're usually a little rusty, and they usually do not come with the new brake shoes, but sometimes they do. And sometimes the brake shoes don't even have the little holes for you to put the original springs in there. But if you have it, reuse it. If you don't have it, then don't worry about it. All right, the idea of it is basically just to keep the shoes out. It's like a spring. It kind of keeps it away from the rotors. Okay, that's what its main job is. And it's very flimsy, so it's not going to do a great job. All right, once that is done, you can do a couple things. There's 2 bolts back here. These are 17 millimeters. Okay, I'm gonna get some tools over here and take that off. So 17 millimeters will take this whole caliper off, this caliper bracket off, along with the brake pads. They just come out. Otherwise, you could just pop the brake pads off right now. All right. So let's get the 17 and let's do that. All right. So once you take the 17s off, okay, one on the bottom, one on the top, then this arm is gonna come right off. All right. This bracket is going to come off with the brake pads. You can take it with the brake pads because you're going to change them anyway. Look how thin they are. There's hardly anything left in the material. See it? That's why the pedal was low too. All right, so we'll put this down. And don't forget, what you want to do is you want to check to make sure that these items here, these sliders, go in and out nice and easy. Okay? Should be with no ease. If it's a little bit of a problem, you got to take them apart and grease them up. Okay, but this goes with ease. Okay, see how they move and they spin? That means they're nice and free. Okay, brake pads should come with new clips. Okay, if not, you're going to buy them separately. Change those clips and look at the orientation of the wear sensor. It's back there. Hasn't even hit, no, it should have hit it already. But it's just about even with it. So it didn't make the noise yet. But it's almost there. That's the purpose of that. Now, as for the rotor, you need a Phillips screwdriver or an impact Phillips. Okay, these are pretty good. Buy them in any store, automotive store. The idea is to put it in there, and when you hit this side with a hammer, it kind of gives it a little bit of a shock, and it's going to break these screws off. Now, one is already broken off over here already, or somebody didn't install them, whoever did this brake job last. So I noticed the other side is the same way. Only has 1 screw. All right. So once you take that off, this rotor is actually starting to fall off in my hands, which is fantastic. I don't have to hit it with a sledge. Since we're changing the rotor anyway, if you ever have to hit it, just hit it right in the face or hit it back here if you got a nice swing, and the thing will come right out in your hands. Okay, voila. And this is the rotor. Okay, that's why we change them. Okay, look at the little heat cracks there. Okay, that's stuff you don't see when it's in the car. You look for your wheels and that's all you see, and you think that the rotors are good, but when you look at the back, the rotors are bad. Right? Always change the rotors when you do a brake job. That's my take on it. Okay, and also if you look, there's a little lip here because the metal in the middle here is worn out, and this here is still the original. That's why we change them. All right, now we're going with Duralast. Duralast 44594DL is the rotors. This is the gold brake pads. DG1451 comes with a bag of clips. Remember I told you? Oh look, and it also comes with those little tiny clips there too. So we're going to be changing those. All right, so now we're going to open this package up. The rotor comes wrapped and it has a little oil in it, so you have to clean the oil. All right. AutoZone don't sell the good brand brake cleaner no more, but Champion is the next best thing. It works a lot better than the regular brake cleaner one that they sell nowadays. So if you can get those, I think it's about another 75 cents more, maybe $1. Champion is the better brake cleaner than that one. Okay, it's also good for oil and cement. All right, so I'm going to clean that all up. We're going to throw the rotor up with the screw, and then we're going to work on the bracket. Okay, we're going to wire brush that bracket, clean all the clips, clean the guides, and we're going to get going that way. All right, so let's move. All right, so we got the rotor nice and clean. I'm going to put the little set screw back in. Might as well use the same hole that the other one came out of, because the other one looks like it's rusted to death. You have a hard time putting that screw back in. So let's just put it in. Let's tighten that sucker up. There you go. Make sure when you spin it, you don't hear no noise. Because if you hear a little grinding noise, a little metal noise, it's because you bent this little backing plate. Okay? Sometimes from putting a rotor on it, sometimes from moving it around, you kind of bend this little shield in here, and later on after you do your brake job, you can hear like a little noise like that. It's because that's what you did. So, just warning you in advance. That's what happens. All right, so now we're off to the brake caliper bracket. Okay, I'm going to clean that up, wire brush it, make it look nice and neat. All right, here we go with the bracket. Let's start the bracket. Let's get all my stuff here. Let's knock these brake pads out. No matter which way you knock them in, inside or out, they will come out. All right, look at these brake pads. See that? See how thick it is over here in this one corner and not over there? It's because the brakes are probably on a little bit of a tilt. That's because of either the worn out guides in here or those little pins that go in and out is binding. Another thing here, okay? I mean, they should wear out evenly, but if you can tell, it looks like a little bit of a wedge. Thicker here, thinner here. See it? All right, got that off. Let's take these little clips off here. They only go one way, so can't mess up that orientation. All right, like I said, over here, you want to make sure that these go in and out nice and easy, which is exactly what they do. We'll make sure that they spin. Okay, spinning on the boot there, that's what that is. Okay, but they go in and out, they spin nice and free. They're good to go. So now what you want to do is you want to wire brush the surface on both sides, and that is where the new guide clips go. So let's go do this. See, make it nice and shiny. Get all that years of Northeast grit and rust. Do a little bit of the bracket if you want. You can. You can get a little crazy. Some people go and sandblast them. You like your calipers painted, good time to do it now too. All right. How's that look, folks? Looks good? All right, let's go shoot it with some brake cleaner. Like I said, this is the better brake cleaner. The other ones you could use universal, but I like the old AutoZone ones. The one with the little yellow and orange can. All right, that's that. Let's let that dry a little bit. Let's go get the clips. Brake pads, make sure we got the same ones. All right, got the same orientation. That one's not the one. That one's this one. So that one is that one. And the other one, doesn't matter, it's the same. All right. Remember what I told you about that caliper? It has to be 9 and 3. It's because the rear brake pad has this little tiny tab. This little tiny tab is going to line up with the 9 and 3. Whereas the other pad does not have that clip. That's for the emergency brake, by the way. That's why you have to line it up with 9 and 3. All right, let's go clips. It's 2 clips, 2 of those little tiny retainers. We call them horseshoe clips. That's going to be those 2 there. So that's for the other side. I'm going to save it. These 2 clips, I'm going to put it up with the other ones. So I don't forget it. Sorry for the delay. I dropped the clip and I didn't want to miss it and lose it. All right, now to put these little buggers on, like I said, they only go one way, so they're going to go this way. Make sure that they are exactly centered, because you don't want it to hit the rotor. There you go. Okay. Should be exactly where the rotor sits in. Is exactly where that clip should be. I do a little reinforcement, and I like to push it in. Because if they're not pushed in right, you're gonna have a hard time putting the brake pads on. You're gonna think there's something wrong with the brake pads, but it's not. Just gonna take up a little bit of that clearance. Okay. Voila. Okay. Now, if you want to, what you can do, remember, this is going to sit this way with the bolts going that way. So if you want to, you could pre-install your brake pads. Some people do it, some people don't. Either way, it comes out to the same way. All right, just leave them on the outside. Do not touch the material with your gloves or any grease, okay? Keep it clean. You want the surface clean. Otherwise, I will give you a problem with it. Then you'll have a little noise later on down the line. Make sure your gloves are clean. And they will go right in there. There you go. Okay, we're going to tap it in just to get a little further in. They are all right there. Okay, a little off there, but it's all right. The rotor's a lot smaller. All right, so let's take this whole assembly now. It's nice and loose over here, loose as a goose here, and we're going to install the same assembly on. All right, so let me set you up over there. and we'll get you going. All right, gonna give you a little different perspective here. How about from the back view? Take your two 17 millimeter bolts. Put your caliper on. Line up the bolts. All right, we're going to go torque them down and go find out what the specs are. And then we'll move on to the next one. All right, once you torque them down, take the back of your screwdriver. I take the back of my little hammer here. Just going to tap the pads in a little bit so they're nice and square. Now it's time to push the piston in for the caliper. This one uses a little tool that pushes this piston in. I'm going to show you that right now. Let's go get that tool. All right, it's a little fancy tool here. It's only a couple dollars. You get it at the store. It's universal. Comes with a bunch of different slots, okay, different sizes, whichever one fits into that piston. Okay, so we're going to pick this one that fits in here like that, goes into two of those slots perfectly, and the idea is to turn it clockwise and push it in at the same time. So you want this piston to go all the way in. Let's see if I could do it while you guys are in the way with my camera here. Let's set it up. Hopefully I don't knock you guys out of the scene. You know what? Is there a 4-piston one? Let me try this 4-piston, this 4-prong one. That might be really better. Yeah, I think that's better. All right. It's hard for you to see. It's a little hard to spin here, holding it. So let me try to find a better way to film you guys without me getting in the way. All right, I want to see if this works for you. Okay, hang on. Just make sure you guys are sitting up straight. So you can get the full view of this. While we're doing it, I'm going to anchor it right here against this rear sway bar. Get the little fancy tool here. And we are going to twist and push in at the same time. Hey, nobody said it was easy. But once you crack it open, you get it to go, and the rest of it is a breeze. If you notice that the boot starts to fold into itself, if you see that the boot starts to bend a little bit, give yourself a break. Put the tool back the other way, the ratchet. Come back out with it. That way you don't rip that boot. Okay. It's like when you put a screw in there, you know, you feel a little binding, then you go and you back it off a little bit. So that's what you have to do. All right. So yeah, the boot was bending a little bit, but I straightened it out, and just to make sure, I don't rip the boot. All right, so same thing, push in all the way. You'll know when it stops because it looks like you're spinning and doing nothing. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that this thing is at the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position. So I am going to make this top one at the 12, and I'm going to take a peek. There you go. Can't tell from there, but I'm gonna bring you around and I can show you. Oh, don't want to drop you off the little tripod here. All right, so let's take a peekaboo. And there you go. All right, 9 and 3 straight across. So when this caliper goes right on, it's gonna touch that little tab over there. So for now, we're gonna put those little spring clips in there. Okay, remember? They go in the little holes right here, one on each side, and they're gonna face in. All right, so let's do that. All right, put the little spring clips in there. Okay, they just go into the little holes. One there, one in there. They stay in there. Sometimes the brake pads, they want to start pulling apart already because of the spring. All right, so this piece here now, we're gonna lubricate at the inside of this caliper here. All right, we got some slide, brake lubricant slide right here. You can buy it separately. Sometimes it comes with the kit itself. And what we're gonna do here is basically, we're gonna put some onto that piece. Let's see. On the outside, I like to put some on the piston's face. Keeps the squeals down. And like I said, change the rotor with the brake pads, you don't have to worry about squeals. And people just change brake pads, then a month later, they come back and complain that the car sounds like a freight train coming down when they come to a stop. Okay, you don't want that. All right, so this is going to slide right over it, people. Gotta push these little tabs in there, because they move. And there he is. Now it's in there. I'm going to put these bolts in here. 12 millimeters, remember? I'm going to tighten them to specs. And then, what else we're going to do? We are going to, oh, I don't know if the camera moved on me, but yeah, lined it up, went on there, 12 millimeters, and I'm going to put this little bracket back on here to this piece. Line this one up with a little hole that retains it, and put the screw in there. Yeah, it's easy when you have two hands. There you go. All right, I'm going to tighten that up. Tighten the caliper bolts to specs. And then we are good to go. All right. Brake job would be done. I'm going to show you. All right. Hang on. All right, there you go. All right. Emergency bracket is bolted. Is back on the bracket, and that's it. All right, want to check it, make sure that it slides back and forth, and you're good to go, people. That's it. Duplicate everything for the other side, and you'll be a-okay. All right, that's it, people. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.